got a chance to see the new Netflix film Exterritorial. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I'm your host, Frank Zanka. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, I'm trying to get back into the swing here, and so I'll be gone there as well. But I'll do like little shorts and stuff like that while I'm there. I'm going to meet up with some other guys that do comics and stuff like that. So yeah, so I got a chance to see this movie on Netflix, but I'll tell you about that in a second. Remember to give me a like, give me a thumbs up if you can. If you can, subscribe, ring that bell, ding, ding. And if you can, share this video out there, that would be great as well. Also, I am on Amazon since I am a writer. If you want to check out anything that I've written, including my 4-novel series, Destiny Aurora. It's also on Audible as well. And then I have my fantasy novel, Tales of Ravenor the Iron Witch. I am working on a new novel right now. And on top of that, my new comic, Fairy Tales of Terror, which is exactly what you think it would be, is going to go live on Kickstarter. But the pre-launch page is up right now, so you can either hit the QR code or there's a link in the description below if you want to check that out. It'll notify you when I launch, so you can get all the early bird specials and things to that effect. All right, so let's talk about Exterritorial. So I had heard things about this movie. I love action movies, so I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And it was like number 3 or whatever else in the world or whatever on the Netflix thing. So I'm like, yeah, let's go check it out. I like female-led action films as well, Black Widow type of things. And I've written them as well. I read a thing called Cats, which is C period, A period, T period, S, with a female group of spies, action stuff. So again, this is kind of totally in my genre. So I started watching it, and I'm like, this is like the worst dubbing I've ever seen. And the mouths didn't match, and I was like, what is going on? I was totally confused by what I was watching. And the girl was pretty and stuff like that. She has a son, and she had a husband. She was ex-military. The husband was ex-military, and he died in some way, shape, or form during one of the missions. And her son now is American. But I didn't realize at the time that she was German. I didn't realize it. And I knew that they were in the embassy and they were to go to America. I think they're in Frankfurt at the embassy or whatever. And then I finally realized, is this a German film? So I went down to the different options for the language, and I saw that it was literally in a dubbed channel. So I was like, okay. So I turned it off and I went to the subtitles, and I was like, wow, okay, now the mouths are matching. And I was really confused too, because some of the actors were American. So you had Dougray Scott in there, and I'm like, since when does Dougray Scott speak German fluently? So I was like all over the place, confused. But once I turned off the dubbing and I had the subtitles on, things got better. I get very put off when the words don't match. So it was better in German, I think. So anyway, so she is lost her son. So she ends up, her name was Sarah, and she is played by, I'm going to totally massacre this name, Jean, I don't know how to say it in German, but it looks like Jean or Jean, Gorson. And I've seen, of course, nothing that she's ever been in. So she is, again, ex-military, which we know right in the beginning. So her having the ability to fight is not over and above what the plot is setting up. But they've been sitting for hours and hours and hours. So her son, who is 6, 7, whatever, he gets bored. So he starts, jittering and whatever else. And they tell her that there's a little playroom where he can play, and then she can finish doing what she's going to do. And there's nobody in the playroom, so she leaves him there. I mean, that's when I was a kid. My brother and I they would put us wherever. We went with the babysitter, or we were allowed to, be within our own space or whatever, and there was never an issue. So I don't see her as being a bad mom or anything like that by doing that. And all of a sudden, when she comes back, of course, they call her number at that point, and he's gone. So, but what I find interesting is they make her a narrator that is unreliable. They call that an unreliable narrator. Not that she's narrating the film, but it's about her, so she is the main character. And they say that, well, she's off her meds because she has PTSD, and she even calls her mom. And so you get to the point where you don't know if the kid is even alive, or if he's even a figment of her imagination, or whatever. So I found that very interesting, that they gave you the option to think that she was crazy. So I'm not going to tell you whether she is or isn't at this point. I'm not going to do any spoilers. But yeah, so you don't know whether she's just imagining all this, and even she gets to the point where she is unaware of whether she is crazy or not. She questions herself, which I find very interesting. And then she ends up finding this other woman called Kira, who was played like Lara Abova. Now, I haven't seen anything that Gene or whatever else is in, and this is written and directed by the same person, Christian Zubert, who was very obviously German. Before when you see how his name is spelled. But with Lara, I actually seen some stuff that she was in. She's almost like a Russian actress, but she was in Anna. She ends up playing the girlfriend in Anna, which I really like Anna. I saw that in the theater. I thought some of the action scenes in there were really, really good. And she was also in one episode of One Piece. So you have Dougray Scott and her that have done American movies. And TV shows. Because I think Dougray Scott was also in Batwoman. God rest his soul for that, doing that. My God, what a bad show that was. But I like this movie overall, and they gave them full reign of the embassy. She's climbing up the side of the building, and they show it pretty wide. I'm sure she had some kind of a harness on, but I don't even know if she did her own stunts or whatever. I'd find it very interesting if she did. But she's like running across the whole top and all this other thing. So they gave them full reign of this building, which it's got to be like a top secret building. But even when she meets this other person, you're not sure if the other person is real, all that stuff as well. How much is in her head, how much isn't. So I liked all that. And of course, there's a, more of a mystery taking place. Is there a cover up? All this other stuff. So the action scenes are decent for a low budget, especially a German low budget, where we don't expect that to live up to Mission Impossible or anything to that effect. But I think for a low budget film, I think this is really, really good. Now, not a 9 or anything else good, but I would say a 7 good. So it's way better than average, especially when you realize that it's not an American movie and you turn off the dubbing. But I thought she did a really, really good job. I thought the acting in general was very good, and I think some of the action scenes for a low budget were good, and I thought the mystery was decent. It's just an hour and a half. It doesn't really overstay its welcome. It does slow down in a couple of pieces, but not many. So overall, I recommend the film if you want to check something out that's an independent, especially an independent coming from Germany. Yeah, definitely check that out. Exterritorial, and it's it's on Netflix, and yeah, check it out. And that's it for me. So remember to give me that like, give me that thumbs up if you can, and if you can subscribe, please do. Check out my stuff on Amazon, and if you want to sign up quick to get notified of when I launch Fairy Tales of Terror. Again, the QR code is here, or check out the link in the description below. All right, thanks for watching, guys, and have a great day.